something that happened a long, long time ago. Well, it was about 2016, so that does seem like a long time ago, doesn't it? Basically, I've been really enjoying watching all of my friends on Instagram who are from Europe or people in the US posting about their summer, and well, I've been enjoying it, but I've also been very, very jealous. Not only is it warm over there, but we are in lockdown over here in Australia, so I decided that I was just going to take a trip down memory lane and revisit the times when I was able to not only go outside, but I was also able to go to another country. And actually, this story time isn't about another country, it's about me returning from another country to explore my own country, which is just as nice. So I'll be taking you through a few photos, just so you can kind of get context. I'll be popping them up here. So this story is about the time that I went road tripping with my mum, which I've done on quite a few occasions. I think I've road tripped with my mum in every state in Australia. There aren't that many, but I think we've road tripped all over. This was in WA, Western Australia. If you've not heard of Western Australia, yes, that's a state, and yes, it's a really silly name for a state, isn't it? But it takes up a big chunk of the western side of Australia. And we went road tripping there because my sister lives there. Excuse me, I have some food in my teeth. Gone now. Yes, because my sister lives there. And I was living overseas at the time. I was living in Europe, and my sister was getting married, so I had to come back. She actually, when she was planning it, she sent me a text saying, "Hey, are you okay with this date? This is when I'm planning on getting married." And I said, "Well, no, not really. I'll be in France." And she said, "Oh, it was a hypothetical question." So I didn't really have any say in the matter, so I had to come back anyway. So I came back and we went to the wedding. Here's a photo of me at the wedding. He's not extraordinarily short, I'm just extraordinarily tall. It was a very windy day, because in summer we were right next to the beach, at the top of this hotel, and the wind was just going everywhere, and it wasn't just my hair that was going everywhere. As I was standing at the front, because I was one of the bridesmaids, I was standing at the front in front of all the people, just as my sister and her new husband were. I think it was that part in the ceremony, yeah, it was literally that part in the ceremony where they say, "Does anyone have any objections?" And the wind just blew my dress up and everybody saw my undies, so that was fun. I had to borrow my dad's tie clip and clip those silly dresses. I hate those dresses. Very pretty, but they were not practical for that windy day. Anyway, so after the wedding, my mum and I stayed the night, and then we decided, well, we'd already planned, we'd hired a van, a very small, like, old van, and we decided to go on a road trip up right from Perth, which is towards the bottom of Western Australia, right up to the top, towards Broome, and then across towards Darwin. And then we dropped the van off there, and then went over to Queensland, which is where my mum was from at the time, but everything that happened in between. So let's start with the van. I'll show you a picture of the van. It was called Dirty Sanchez. This kind of brand of hire cars and vans. I guess they all have names on them or something. It was very conspicuous. Excuse me. So the first stop was Rottnest Island, which is right where Perth is. Basically, it's a little island, and that's where quokkas are from. These little guys, these little animals. If I look down, I'm just looking at the photos because I have to know what I'm going to show you, and it's been a long time, so I actually don't remember every single thing from this trip. But you know how you look at photos and then you remember things that you had forgotten. It's really nice. I like it. So yeah, this is me eating an ice cream I'm very excited about, and this is my mum at the cricket. We went to the cricket before we left Perth. She's not being silly. This was like a promotion that KFC had that, and so she just and she was supposed to be vegetarian, so but she's not. And let me see what else. Okay, we were staying mostly at caravan parks, pretty much all at caravan parks, and sleeping in this little van, which was, not that comfy, but so a bit of the landscape. This is an Australian summer, and particularly in Western Australia, it gets very, very hot. At one point, there was like 37 degrees. It was very hot and windy. A lot of driving. It's a very big country. A lot of driving. We went to an aquarium. Oh, that's right. We went to see dolphins at now I can't remember the name of the place. Anyway, Monkey Maya, I think it's called Monkey Maya. So we went and saw these dolphins that it's a bit sad. They're wild animals, but they're kind of trained to come into shore because they give them food, but they don't feed them too much. I don't think they're healthy, but it's just kind of this tourist trap thing, I guess. But it's nice to see them. So a lot of driving. This is a what do you call it? Boardwalk, a pier, somewhere. I can't remember. But it's the longest pier in the Southern Hemisphere or something. Longest pier in Australia or something. It's funny whenever you say the biggest or the best or the longest something in the Southern Hemisphere. Usually, it's in Australia. It's not that big a deal. There's less things in the Southern Hemisphere, I guess. But this used to be a train, and it could still be a working train. I'm not sure, but it could have. But I just saw the other day that in some kind of storm, it was completely washed away. So it's not there anymore. It's very sad, but I'm glad I got to go there. More driving. This is a little calf that we saw in the road. We had to stop. We saw a bunch of animals, but I guess this cute little guy just was nuzzling the van, which is really cute. There's so many beautiful beaches. It's my heaven. I love the beach. I love the hot weather. I could live in 40 degrees every day. It's just amazing. And this was around the time I was a late adapter of Snapchat, and one of those millennials who just got onto it too late, and I still kind of use it actually. But yeah, so there's a lot of Snapchats on this thing. I wasn't on Instagram. Here's a spider. Here's some more wildlife. The emus. This was in Ningaloo. Yeah, Ningaloo Reef. So yeah, they were just emus in the middle of the town because it's the country. It's very rural, and this is back at I think this was in Exmouth. I think that's how you say it, Exmouth or Exmouth. At the caravan park, there were always emus everywhere, and this family of emus just kept kind of terrorizing people. And one of them, I got a video of him or her stealing our bread. They just come right quite scary. They're pretty big. More driving. It was, yeah. There's I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Red Dog. This was the Red Dog. It's about a dog who just like travelled around Australia. Lots of beautiful. Oh yes. So when we got up to, I think it was like Carnarvon or somewhere like that. We heard that there was turtles that were hatching at the beach. Like you could go there early in the morning and park and go and watch the like baby turtles sort of like being born out of the sand and then running towards the beach. So we went there and it was just the most amazing experience like I've ever had. The little guys, they kind of they just look like stones, like their little head pokes out from the sand, and what they do is they sit there and they just wait and they warm up. So once they're warm enough, they make a dash for it, and the people there were I guess like rangers or something like that. They were professionals. They were there to sort of just protect them and give them safe passage. So if like birds, if seagulls came nearby, they would sort of shoo them away. But they didn't do too much. They didn't want to like disrupt the natural process. They were just kind of there to give them a little bit of a helping hand. But they didn't touch them or anything like that. And it was so sad because I think it's like 1 in 1,000 little turtles actually make it out into the water or make it to being a grown-up. Is very sad. But I think some of the ones that we saw made it out to the water. The tide was quite far out, so unfortunately they had to like crawl a little bit. But it was it was really really sad. But we're like following it and shooing away the birds. But then so the best part of the trip was promptly followed by the worst part of the trip. So when we got back to our van, we saw it had been broken into, and we stupidly kept our like money in the glove box. Mum had like a wallet of cash. I had my, because I was doing a little bit of work at the time while we were traveling. I had my bag with my laptop, my wallet, both of our wallets gone. Thankfully, our bigger like luggage bags with all of our clothes and everything and toiletries and stuff was still there, and thankfully nobody was hurt. But so apparently this happens quite often, and I think they target backpackers and stuff. So our van, Dirty Sanchez, was just too conspicuous. So I guess they know when to go there, and they know that that's a tourist attraction. So So that put a bit of a dampener on our trip. So the window was broken. It was on my side, and so we had to like drive. I had to kind of put tape on it where it was sort of broken, and we had to drive with the like on the highway with the wind blasting in my face. So we had to sort of call up. Luckily we had our phones because we were taking photos and stuff. I don't know what we would have done without our phones. So we called and like cancelled all of our cards and things. I think Mum had at the time. I don't think I did, but Mum had like you could get money out, cash out at an ATM with your phone or something. My bank, I didn't have that, but I did have like internet banking, so I could transfer her money, so money was all fine. And we cancelled the cards and everything, but we did lose like a few $100 in cash. I don't know why we had that much cash on us. It was like 2017. Anyway, so we called the car people, the car hire people, told them what happened, and was like a few hundred k's, a few hundred kilometers. So we had to drive a while with that open. So that was super fun. And like it wasn't like my laptop was annoying because I had to like literally buy a new one so I could keep working on the road, and I had to, but I lost I had a Harry Potter book that I lost. I lost my like favorite lip gloss. I had this little do you guys keep like a little bag in your bag with all of the like stuff you need, like lip gloss, like your pill, your like band-aids, and like I had this like little pack that I just had forever. Yeah, and like they don't need that, like just take the money and go. Like it was so annoying. Anyway, what else? There's a lot of sunsets on the way. Oh yes, when we got to Darwin, went to Darwin was Broome was before Darwin, because I'd been to Darwin before. But Broome, that was where Matzo, I think that's where Matzo's ginger beer is from. It's really nice ginger beer, and it's also where the oldest like working cinema is. It's the oldest working outdoor cinema, because it's so hot there. All this like cinema and stuff, I guess, would have to have been outdoor because there was no air conditioning. But yeah, it's this really beautiful place. There was like a covered area and then an uncovered area at the front, and back in a long time ago, all the Aboriginal Indigenous people had to sit up the front because in case it rained, the white people were covered. So a little bit of awesome Aussie history for you. Oh yes, and so when we went, it was high summer. It was the beginning, not high summer, it was like the beginning of summer, so December, January, and that is the beginning of the wet season in northern Australia. So like you get to a certain point and it's kind of like tropical, right? So we had to drive through quite a bit of water at times. We were kind of like, we were racing the weather basically, like to get across. When we got to Broome, we have to go across to Darwin through Fitzroy Crossing, and I can't remember other places. But yeah, there was some scary moments because this was not a four-wheel drive, and we probably shouldn't have been driving it through the water. Oops. So, but it was fine. So we got through. It was pretty scary. There were a lot of termite mounds on the side of the road. They're quite big, really, really big. Lots of driving. Oh, and then we got to, I think this is when we're getting to Nibmaluk. Let me find it. Lots of water, yeah. Nibmaluk, which is, used to be called Catherine Gorge, but the traditional name is Nibmaluk. It's this beautiful, beautiful gorge with water in it. And we took a boat along it, and we would, the guide was telling us all these beautiful Dreamtime stories about like the history of the place there, and like where the rainbow serpent lives, and things like that. It was really nice. I was so tanned. I get really tan. I'm not that tan anymore. But in summer I can get that tan. But very sad. Very, very sad. Here's us swimming in the gorge. And here's me. Here's me with the flies. So there's flies everywhere. Like that's Australia. That's hot. Like whenever you're somewhere in the heat, there's just lots of flies. So I was like trying to keep away from the flies. And this is. Let me just show you. This is like where we visited someone. I can't remember who it was. This was when we were getting our van fixed. Mum knew somebody, I can't remember who they were, but we were visiting, and they had the newspaper, and the Northern Territory newspaper. So we're out of Western Australia and now we're in the Northern Territory. The Northern Territory newspaper is something else. It's like they don't care. All of their headlines are amazing, and this is just one of them. Yeah, look up like Northern Territory Australia news headlines. It's so funny. And then I guess, because my mum was living in Cairns, so this must have been like towards the end of the trip, and when we dropped off the van in Darwin, we flew to Cairns, and that was kind of like the end of the trip, and I went to the Great Barrier Reef, and we went swimming, and this is us in our wetsuits, because in summer like the water's really warm, but there are these irukandji, the really small jellyfish that can really hurt and sting you. But when we got there, the guides, the people on the boat who were working there, weren't wearing wetsuits, and they were in the water. I guess they weren't scared of like the jellyfish, but I ended up taking my wetsuit off and I didn't get stung. So, but yeah, I think just be careful of jellyfish if you're ever going swimming in northern Queensland. And that was really fun for me. I hope you guys got some enjoyment out of it, whether it was just tuning it out or looking at the stupid pictures. But I really had a good time. I had a good time on my trip, and it was nice to relive it with you guys. So I hope you have a good morning or evening or afternoon or noon. Everyone always forgets noon. But wherever you are and whatever time it is, I hope you enjoy